Hello all. Today we are going to discuss about what we do as a business analyst during the planning phase. So planning phase is the phase in which we come up with artifacts like project charter, work breakdown structure, RACI matrix and communication plan. So generally the planning phase comes up after the discovery meeting or the initiation phase. So once we understand uh, how the current business process flows work. And once we do the initiation, understand about the project, try to get a grasp on the timeline, try to get a grasp of the kind of technology they are using, their pain points when it comes to the end users, the pain points that they are facing, and what they do on a day to day basis, and what kind of work is going to come our way and what kinds of tools are we going to use. So all these things will come up during the discovery phase and the initiation phase. Once that's done, we start the planning phase. So during the planning phase, we come up with artifacts which includes project charter, work breakdown structure, communication plan, and RACI matrix, like I said. So let's talk about the project charter first. So let me share my screen. Now let's reverse engineer, right? So you have to willingly suspend your disbelief and just assume that this is going to be the application that we are going to build as a part of the project. And this application has 4 pages. So this is page number 1, this is page number 2, this is going to be page number 3, and this is going to be page number 4, right? So let's assume that we are reverse engineering as a part of the project is about constructing this module and it's a 1 year project. And let's assume that there's a lot of data migration in place. We have to cleanse the data, we have to get the data, we have to construct APIs and all that, right? So let's say it is something like a 12-month project where we have to construct this entire module, these 4 pages. So let's just make that assumption. Maybe if not 12 months, 10-month project, right? So now let's start with doing a project charter for a module like this. Let's reverse engineer. So as a part of the project, we will be building these 4 pages, right? So what will the so how do we come up with the project charter for a project like this? So the project charter will contain the following elements. So this is the project charter. So it will contain the business purpose. So what is the business purpose? So let's come up with the business purpose. Let's go look into this page. So this is the customer profitability analysis page. So they are analyzing the revenue, they are analyzing the loan purpose revenue generation, they are analyzing the segment revenue generation, and there's a lot of revenue based analysis that's taking place. There is a Google API map in here, there's a Google map, and you can also slice and dice the data by using all these checkboxes, right? Now, this looks like a executive application to me, the kind of application that executives use, and the executives is going to see all these visualizations and they'll take decisions. Instead of looking into a lot of account-based ledgers, they'll just look into these visualizations and take decisions. So let's come up with the app business process for this. So again, disclaimer, generally they'll create the project charter first, gather requirements over a period of 3 or 4 releases. I mean, they'll work for 3 or 4 releases and finally produce this application or produce this module in the application. But we are reverse engineering for your understanding, okay? So just please don't get confused. So the business purpose will be currently the executives on, I'm just going to come up with a random bank name, XYZ Bank, are taking decisions by referring to a series of revenue related account based ledgers. This must be it takes a lot of time to go through different numbers, digest them, and take decisions effectively. To smoothen this process, we have to come up with multiple, we have to come up with a module which will contain multiple revenue based visualizations so that the executives can understand the revenue situation better and take good decisions. So this will be the business purpose. If you have any questions on the business purpose, please do comment below, right? If you have any questions, please do comment below, and let me just zoom in a little bit so that you can see better. Okay, so this is the project charter, and this is the first segment of the project charter. So next one is business goals. So this would be, we have to come up with various, again, so when it comes to business goals, we are just going to elaborate on the business purpose. So it will look abstract to a certain extent. So we have to come up with various revenue based visualizations so that the executives can take better decisions. Number two, we have to make sure that the data, the visualizations can be filtered based on year, location, etc. Right? So I'm talking about this and this. You see what I'm doing here? So we are just reverse engineering everything, right? So this is how the document will look, right? Business purpose, business goals. And the executive must be able to understand the revenue situation easily and smoothly. And in real time, they might add some more points, 4 or 5 points, but due to time constraints, I'm just gonna stop at 3. If you have any questions on business goals and how to write them, do comment below. And again, like I said, business goals are just a breakdown of the business purpose, or an expansion or an extension of the business purpose. And the next point is the most important point, or the most important segment, I must say, Inscope items. So, so this is how I do it all the time: objective and key results. So, what will be the objective for this page? So, this is how it's going to look. Now, another disclaimer, right? When you go to an organization, they might be following the format that I'm showing you, or they might follow a similar format, but not something that's exactly the same. Different organizations use different formats, but then they are all similar, right? So once you understand whatever I'm showing, you'll get a good understanding of how a project chatter will look like. It will be similar for sure, but then it's not going to be ditto, right? So another disclaimer. So objective would not. So objective is what we are trying to accomplish, right? So let me go to the first page. So the objective is to come up with a customer profitability analysis page. That's the objective. So objective number one. And the key results would be, so what is the acceptance criteria? If we have completed objective one, what will be the acceptance criteria for that? So what is the indicator that objective one is completed, objective one is done? So the key results should be that. So in our case, we need to come up with visualization for industry, loan, and segment revenue. The visualizations must be filtered based on year, location, etc. And we have to come up with opportunity details section. And we need to come up with a Google map that's going to be zoomed in based on the location that is selected. See, that's how it works, right? So let me zoom out a little bit. So if I select southeast, this is going to zoom in. If you notice, see what happened. If I click on southwest, this is going to. If I click on midwest, it's going to change, right? So this is what it's doing, right? So Google map, that is a Google map must be okay. Don't even use Google, right? No design terminologies. Map that is going to zoom based on the location selected. So in order to complete objective one, so these four elements would be the key results. Likewise, there's going to be, so if so once all these four key results are executed and we've coded for it, then that means objective one is completed. And mind you, these are not requirements. They are just key results on a high level. Hence, it's not going to deal with any intricacies. It's going to be only high level language. It's not going to deal with any intricacies, data points, field names, nothing. no design related content, right? So these are all just high level key results, right? And objective one is what we are trying to accomplish with that page. In this case, that's how I'm doing it. And then key results would be, what's the success criteria for this? What's the acceptance criteria for this? So once these four key results are accomplished, objective one is done. So in real time, this will take around 3 to 4 months to complete, or at least I would say 2 to 3 months, if not 3 to 4 months. So provided they have to get the data from somewhere, they have to cleanse the data, they have to gather the requirements, and they have to code for all these visualizations. I think it's a good 2 month work, right? So this is one objective. So the entire project will have around 7 to 8 objectives at least, if it's going to be a one year project, right? So these are all in scope items. And out of scope item will have elements that are not in scope. So this will include something like getting data from TYU application is out of scope. So there is another application, and if you want, you can get data from it using an API or something. But as far as this project is concerned, we are not going to do that, so that's out of scope. So you will also include items that are out of scope. And then we'll have risks and assumptions. So a good example of a risk, to a certain extent, you can use these terminologies interchangeably. If you want, you can use it separately. So anything that's not in your control will be a risk. Again, anything that's not in our control will be a risk. A good example is, we have multiple upstream external dependency with POLT. They have a history of not delivering the dependencies on time. Right? This is a kind of a politically incorrect way to do it, but in some projects we'll still write it down like this. So another way to phrase it in a political correct, in a very polite and politically correct manner would be, we are assuming that we will get the data related dependency delivered by POI team on or before 7th of Jan 2023. So this is a very good example of an assumption, right? So tomorrow, if your project gets delayed because this external team did not deliver the data to you on time, then you can always cite this and safeguard your team. That's the justification of having this, right? Or another risk could be, this is a major risk, right? A bill that gets passed into law. So I'll just give a bill name. There is no such bill like this, but I'm just saying, right? Bill, if bill 1768 gets passed into law, then we have to scrap off a couple of features. Now again, if you see, for point number 2, this is not under our control. A bill is passed, so as far as the bill is concerned, you should not capture the industry revenue generation date. data in your application. Trust me that no bill will get passed that's going to dictate this. There's no such bill. No such bill will get passed even in the future. But I'm just taking a very random example, right? A bill gets passed saying that you are not supposed to capture industry revenue generation or some kind of gender based visualization. You should not capture that, or you should not capture gender based data. If a bill gets passed, if a bill gets passed into law, and it says that, and you have some features which does exactly the same, then you have to take it off. So that is a risk, and you don't have control over this, right? So that is a risk. Even the point number one is a risk. You cannot go get hold of another team and tell them to deliver the dependency on time. If they are late, we don't have much control over them, right? So that is an assumption. Point two will be a risk. Like I said, to a certain extent, you can use these two terminologies interchangeably. I would recommend use it separately. Uh, don't use it interchangeably. Try your best not to, but to a certain extent, you can use them interchangeably. So, what do we have here? We have business purpose, we have business goals, we have in scope items, we have out of scope items. So, if you have any scope on any questions on in scope items and out of scope items, if you want me to explain something more, please do comment below. I'll definitely explain. And this is the risks and assumptions. Again, if you have any questions on this, please do comment below. I'll explain. So next is project team. So project team will consist of the IT team and the business team. So you can write all the names in here. So I'm not going to go into that. And the next one would be budget. And when it comes to budget, everybody gets paid by the hour, so that comes under budget. Majority of it is that. The tools, the licenses for that, the cost for the running the office, if they are renting out an office space or something, that also comes under budget. But then 80 to 85 percentage of the budget would be the salary that you pay the employee. So that primarily depends on the uh, uh, amount of money that you pay your employees and the size of the team, right? So there will be a dollar figure here. And milestones. So release one. So release one will take place on the June 10th or June 8th, 2023. Release 2, 12 December 2nd, 2023. Right. So these are the milestones. So once we are done with these two releases, the project will be done. It will go live. So these are all the main elements that a project charter will contain. It will have the business purpose, it will have the business goals, it will have in-scope items, which consist of objectives and key results. You know what an objective is now. You know what a key result is. It will have out-of-scope items. It will have risks and assumptions. It will have the project team, all the names listed, and the business team, all the names listed. And finally, it will have the budget and milestones. So if you have any questions on these three elements, project team, budget, and milestones, please comment below. So these are all the main elements of the project charter. Hope you found this video to be informative, and you are able to gather something of essence. So please do subscribe to my channel below by clicking the subscribe button, and tune in for more content. Thank you, and you have a nice day. Bye.